Hi, my name is Emma Musson, and I'm going to give a presentation on false memories and eyewitness testimony. You all know the line, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney, and so it goes on, right? There are too many criminal case shows on TV to have not heard this line. Well, this would be the start to a criminal case. One is just arrested, and that is the beginning of the timeline. Just as the line says, the first action one takes is getting a lawyer. Either they find one, or one is assigned to them. Then, according to Nolo, the process of gathering evidence, records, and eyewitnesses begins, along with assigning juries and a court date. During the period between arrest and the court date, many times lawyers and clients offer a negotiation and mediation period. But in some cases, they cannot come to an agreement and the trial is still very needed. Then, one would hope that after all of this, including the trial, they would be found innocent, or in cases, guilty. Now that there is a basic timeline, where does APA accredit most of the mistakes that occur? If you guessed eyewitness testimony, you are correct. APA has researched and found that eyewitness testimony is not all that reliable and to be very cautious of it. According to Mercer's Cognitive Psychology, eyewitness testimony is the recollection of an event and/or person or persons seen firsthand by observer. One main problem described by Mercer's Cognitive Psychology is the way our brain processes important events. Within the three stages that our brain processes events through, there are problems that can arise at each. During the encoding stage, factors such as stress, violence, being in the unconscious state can affect how well the memory is encoded. Then at the storage stage, the active time can play a critical role. When a person reacts to an event, the event can appear or be remembered very different at different time periods. So, at the trial stage, it could be remembered differently than it is seen at the very first moment. At the third stage of retrieval, the expectation or stress one feels to remember can cause false memories and impact the truth of eyewitness testimony. This idea is also explained by Lawrence as he explains that the brain structures and mechanisms that all humans have, such as memory encoding and retrieval, make all people susceptible to false memories. He also explains that there is not one single implication to explain false memories. According to Kumar, in a study he did, he found that age makes a big difference in how well one remembers and how easy it is to change certain age groups' minds to a question. His study included 100 students split into two groups. One group had ages 12 to 18, and the other group was ages 19 to 25. Kumar used recognition tests to determine if they could pick out critical words. It was found that the younger the student, the more they reported seeing false critical words based on the question Kumar asked afterwards. There was another study that confirms these findings done by Poley and White. They asked children ages 4 to 8 and also adults to read a book and report on the events that occurred in the book. They found that children are just as accurate when responding to open-ended questions, but when asked yes/no questions, they reported false statements. So, eyewitnesses can vary in age and are not always going to report the full truth based on questions they are receiving or based on the questions they are receiving. Another reason eyewitness testimony is not 100% reliable is because it is easy to mentally trick someone into believing something. In a study done by Manning and Loftus, participants were given implicit tests and interviewed in different environments. The different environments included being given more information, different leading questions, and including just being in a different physical environment. He used these different environments to see whether their memories would change. Through this study, they found that 15 to 17% remembered information they had only read about, showing that when research told them something, the participant added or changed a memory. They also found that through probing questions, individuals reported information they had not even seen or heard. This idea is what Ian Hicks described in my interview. He used the term suggestive tactics to describe what lawyers do to prepare clients. He is an owner of his own law firm and works on many different cases. Ian explained that lawyers often use leading questions that can spark true or untrue memories. It's often hard to tell, he says. He strongly disagrees with this tactic because he has seen cases end poorly or better than planned due to false memories and or poor eyewitness testimony. As I mentioned before, the APA has acknowledged the flaws of eyewitness testimony. Recently, they have filed 2 briefs on 2 different cases, stating that the court needs to be aware of the research regarding eyewitness testimony. As Ian stated, the question of where to go from here is a large topic of debate. We cannot just rid eyewitnesses from the courtroom, as we probably won't be able to for many years until there is another solution. The APA offers some ideas of what to do to combat these issues. With all the research regarding the manipulation and flaws of eyewitness testimony, there needs to be a national policy created that guides law enforcement agencies on how to gather eyewitness identifications. Through this policy, or until a policy is made, changing how witnesses are prepared is a must. APA explains that we need to stop swaying early identification and should use the body of eyewitness research as a guide. Lastly, continuing to question and challenge eyewitness identification in court can help validate the person on the stand. The causes and flaws of eyewitness testimony run deep, and understanding can be difficult. Research will continue until it is all understood and a solution is made. Thanks for listening.